Hello everyone, I am Everyana Steffer, and today I have a tutorial on how to make a drawstring bag. Now today we're going to start off needing fabric, two types of fabric here, one for the outer and one for the inner liner. You'll need each type of fabric to be at least 45 centimeters by 21 centimeters. And I recommend for the outer liner you'll want something a bit more thick, more sturdy, not delicate or thin like silk or cotton or whatever you would sew with. Linen is really good. I am not sure what material this is, as I got it from a scraps store. The other one is a lot thinner, and you can see a bit of detail on it, which I will explain later. Next thing you'll need is a cord for the drawstring part, and it should be at least 86 centimeters long, or you can have two pieces at half the length. What I happen to have here is a shoelace. It's left over from one of my shoes, which came with two sets, so I'll be using this today. And your pattern. Your pattern is very important, as that's how you cut out everything. And here I have this paper here, and you can see it has different marks on here, and right after I go over all the materials you'll need, I'll have the paper, I'll have a drawing of the pattern you'll need so you can copy and make it yourself. You'll need scissors, that's a typical thing, needle and thread, I'll have that here, and decoration. I've already sewed my decoration on. I will elaborate on that later as well. Decoration is basically anything you want to sew onto the outside of your bag. Just bring that together, plan that out before you actually start sewing anything, as that's pretty important. And I guess I'll show you the pattern now. Here I have a drawing of the pattern you'll have to cut out of paper or whatever you'd like to use. So here we have the overall drawing. The width from left to right is 20 centimeters wide. The height is 21.5 centimeters. And here you'll have to draw about 5 lines or little notches at the bottom here from the middle and across. This is 7.5 centimeters wide. Here we have 3 lines. The first line from the top is 1.1 centimeters. The second line here is 3.2 centimeters, and the third line from the top again is 5.2 centimeters. So you can take this moment to either pause or take a screenshot so you can cut out the stencil for yourself. And I will be back with all the materials and we'll start making the bag. Okay, so once you have your paper pattern all cut out and marked up, you can use it to cut out your pieces of fabric you'll be needing. So you'll be needing 2 pieces from both the inner and the outer fabric. And you can see here I already have the lines drawn in. 1, 2, 3. I don't have the lines drawn on the outer layer for the bottom, but I do have them drawn here, right here, and these ones here, although they're a bit hard to see. And I have the top lines 1, 2, 3 drawn out here. And the reason you only need the bottom lines on the inner layer is because that's where you'll be sewing when you turn it inside out. And you can notice here that I have painted with fabric paint these sides a darker color, and that is so I could properly match it with this. For myself, I really didn't like how the white contrasted against the autumn-ish color here of this fabric, so I painted it this darker blue, and I happen to have some dark blue vinyl. So I cut out a little cat there, and this is what I sewed as my decoration onto my bag. And I have another example I can show later of other decorations. So yeah, so I just cut these out, sewed them on, so you want to do that first. You also want to sew it onto the side where your lines are not marked. As for example here, I've painted this where I did not make the lines, And then first thing you want to do after you have your pieces cut out, this is all attached, this is all sewed, is you want to take one of each piece. You want to bring them face together, like so, and then you'll want to match the lines here, here and here, and then you'll want to sew across this line, the first line right here. You'll do the same with this one as well, and I'll come back once I've had the two lines here sewed together. So you can also see it on this side from here to here to match it up. So once you've sewn together these two pieces, and remember you do want the faces that you want to see at the end facing each other. So you've got this on the inside and this part on the inside. And what you want to do afterwards is you want to take those two pieces and attach them together so that these two sides match. You can see here that's separated, and these two sides match. So what I've done is I've just pinned it together. I have a needle here, needle over here. You can use bobby pins, anything else just to pin it together. I've even used hair clips at one time. And you want to make sure that, again, the faces that you want to see as an end result are facing each other on the inside. And you want to open it up so it faces like this, with this ledge on this side. So something often happens as I go along making these. I tend to tweak them and remember parts that I've forgotten. So I remember that here, these inside notches, the lines here, are actually irrelevant. All you need are the notches here, here and here, on either side. And this part is still very important though, just on the inside there. And what you will do once you've attached these together is you will be sewing from this line all the way around up to your first line here, and you want to sew over it this way. You want to sew, so you want to leave a gap here, do not sew over it, and then you want to sew from this line all the way around up to this line, skip over again, and sew from this line down to the beginning, this line again. So there's a gap here where you do not sew, a gap over here, and a gap over here. And again, I will come back to this and show you the next step once I've had this part sewed together. So I've got this partially done here. I've sewed up this side here and this edge, and I realized that if you don't know how to sew or don't know what stitch I'm doing, I can quickly show you my method. And the way I go with the string, starting off here, if I can find it, is I measure the amount I need from the tip here all the way down to the edge. So that's approximately the length of the thread, and then I will add a bit of that for the needle, and then I will double it as I double all my threads. Cut that up. And then I will thread it through. Let's see. Takes a bit of time, takes a few tries. There we go. So once that is through, I'll double my thread up. I'll take the two ends here, you can see that, and I'll just tie it into a knot around roughly 3 times. Get back to that. Whoops. take some time. Try not to rush like I am right now, and then your hand will be more steady. There's 2, and there's 3. So there's your knot here. Right here you've got your needle, and then I'll just start off right at this end. So you see I've drawn some very rough guiding lines here just to guide where I'm going to be sewing, and then I just put it through, and then you can do I know only a couple kind of stitches, so you can do just the regular like in, out. You do want it to be stitches to be pretty close together, as you don't want it to be opening up. If I try to open this part up, you don't want it to be too far apart in the threads. It's difficult to see, but yeah, you want to pull it apart and it'll be firm. You don't want too many gaps in there. Where's my thread? So the way, instead of just going in, out, like just like up, down, what I do for this one is I enter through here, exit through here, and then I'll go back. So I'll go back to the middle, and then pull it up here, around there, and then I'll go back partway through, a little bit through the stitch. I'll come forward a little bit, go through again, just a little bit back here, so you can see that's where I entered. Oh no, that's the past one. This is where I entered, and this is where I exit, and then go back a little bit. So you can tell obviously that I hand sew all my stuff. I do not have a sewing machine, although I did try it with a handheld sewing machine. It's okay if your lines are crooked. You can adjust it, or if they're just a little bit off, that's alright. I have an example here somewhere. Like right here. These two are touching because I wanted to quickly adjust it, because here it started going too sharply. I think it's more important to be straight on your outer liner, right along here, because that is for aesthetic. Inside here, I like it straight just for, it's good to be straight in general, but if it's crooked, that's alright, because nobody will see it. And yeah, once I finish this, I'll come back. Okay, so once you've had it completely sewn from this edge to here, and this edge, remember that you have a gap here, and again to here, where you have a hole. You'll want to open up this side, and very gently, and carefully I suppose, to not take the stitching out, you'll want to start turning this inside out. So I'll try to fast forward this, but I want to show you the whole process. Take your time, you do want to be very careful with it, so it's okay if it takes quite a few minutes for you to get this done. Okay, so once you've got that done, you can see I've tried to take out all the stitches up to the very edge here. So this looks straight and round, it follows my stitching here. You see that it's attached, and at the end here I have my little hole here. Looks kind of like a fish mouth. Now what you want to do is you want to fold this part in. to follow the stitching here. And have that straight. And once you have it folded in and straight, then you can sew this part closed. And then after you sew that part closed, you'll take this, open it up, and turn it inside out. Or, not inside out, but you'll put the inner liner in, push it in. Mine is harder because it's more stiff from the fabric paint, but you can fit it in kind of like a giant, what are they called? Pot holders, those gloves. And remember when we sewed over the top area here, how there's a little bit left over? You'll have a little bit of overlay from the inner liner here. Right there. So I still need to sew this part, which I'll do later, because you can kind of see a gap in there. But here, your bag is almost done, and if you open this up, you'll notice that there is a little hole here, little gap, and there should be one on this side too. Ta-da, hole. And then that part, what you want to do is, you can either use a water-soluble pen to make the marks again, or you can just constantly measure, but you'll want to make sure each side of the excess is on either side of your fabric, like so, and then you'll want to sew a line along both your inner and outer fabric. You want to sew a line starting from the beginning here, running up through all the way to here and all around. And so you'll want to sew it from here outside to here. So you'll want to really make sure that your inner liner is straight. Again, you can pin it to keep it steady, and you'll want to go in here, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, and out, until you've got your line. And then you also want to do the same thing with your second line, or your last line, going across here to the edge of the hole, right here, and then all around. And after that, we'll take our 2 pieces of cord. I will cut the shoelace in half, and then you'll want to stick it through all the way around and count the same side for 1 piece. And I'll come back once I've done all that. Okay, so now we have our finished product here. You can see I've sewed a line up here and down here, all the way around. And if I took the shoelace and I cut it in half, I put 1 piece goes through and around here, so there's a piece sticking out, and the other piece goes around like this, and then you pull the two together, and like that. And you got a drawstring bag. So the inside lining, I have sewed it here, so you can see kind of the lines here. So the inside lining can no longer go up all the way, it will be stuck right there. And this is what it looks like at the end when I've closed it up. Here we go. Okay, you can see the difference here. I closed it up there, and then I have it reversed here. So one thing that I'll definitely change the next time I make another one is, as you can see, if I put my hand all the way in and I stick it up, it only reaches up to here. So I have this gap of unused space because my inner liner only reaches up to here and my outer liner is all the way out here. So something I might tweak for next time is I'll make the inner liner an extra maybe centimeter and a half of length due to the extra upper lip up here. And I think that's the only thing I would have to tweak. this, because here you can see a knotted end, if you want to make it more fancy, I have something optional here, where you can see on another drawstring bag I made before, here I sewed lace on for decoration, and then I happen to have brown thread, so then it's invisible here, but if you look on the inside, you can see the stitching. And the polka dots I made just from the fabric paint I have. And you can also see on the inside lining that I've sewed it. You can see the stitching here and how it's reversed in here. And it also pulls out. So there's my two. You can see the difference here is instead of a knot, I've put a little end on it so it looks like a ball instead. And I choose to do the same with these. This is completely optional. You can leave your cord or whatever still like this. What you do is you take a piece of fabric, and this will be 2 inches in diameter. Sorry for suddenly changing the units from centimeters to inches. But yeah, the instructions and booklet for another project I found, which I'm referencing in the book where I found this project in my credits afterwards. It says for the fabric to be 2 inches in diameter. What you'll be doing is you'll be sewing in and out from one end all the way in, just in, out, in, out, in, out, all the way around. And then you'll want to put this in the middle. Now what you want to do first is you want to pull on it gently so then it starts to bunch up, and then you take this part and you want to put it on the inside. And it'll take a bit of time to get this right, and once you have it sewed up in like this, with and then your stitches will be just along the outside here. Your stitches will be right along the outside, and then you'll pull it a little bit so it starts concaving. You put this piece in there, and you can add a bit of stuffing. I use cotton balls. You can use leftover fabric or whatever soft batting you find, and then you'll be taking this and it goes in and you pull it tightly all the way and you'll get a little ball here. So the end result will look like this, where you can see inside. You can't see the stitching because I pulled pretty hard to hide it, and then you can see that this folds in on the inside and it's a little round ball. And yeah, that's just how you finish off. So here's the end results. You can sew lace on for decoration, you can cut out and hand stitch just a little animal and whatever other decoration you like. And that's it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. This has been a terrible tutorial, but some final things we can add in just for editing. So here we have, just to show the changes I'm going to make, this is the inner liner and this is the outer liner. Inner liner I'll probably make a little bit taller due to the height difference, and then for this one you'll need to make the lines or draw the lines here. For the outer liner, that's the one you'll need to draw the 2 lines for. And for the upper part here, if you prefer, you can see the difference here that I have this section longer and I have this section not as long as this one. It's hard to compare, but here, let's stretch it out. Yeah, so you can see here it's a little bit longer than this one here. So feel free to play around with that, which is your top line in my earlier example paper for a cutout. And yeah, just keep trying. I hope you have fun making this yourself, as I enjoy this hand stitching, and I hope to make a few more. Not sure what I'm going to do with them, but they're something that's partially practical, partially for fun with the aesthetics, and that's everything. Thank you for watching.